So, 2 weeks ago, I took the SAT dual, and I am going to talk about it now, not about what's on the SAT 2, because I'm not sure when I'm able to do that without bad things happening, like my scores getting destroyed, or what is it? They use a very violent word when they talk about SAT scores being, like, thrown away. It's not like, oh, we're just gonna toss them out. We are going to tear them up and then douse them in kerosene and then set them on fire and then feed them to these rabid dogs who are then going to be fed to crocodiles who are then going to be destroyed in a nuclear explosion in a contained area. That is kind of what they make it out to be. Well, you know. These SAT scores, man, they're serious business. Don't screw around with that stuff. Anyway, I took the SAT 2, which is the subject test, which is the stuff where it's like, oh, we're not grading you on how skillful you are anymore, we're grading you on how much you know. This is a test of how stupid or not you are. So I took that, and I took 3 tests, which is actually kind of funny, because the SAT 2, at the testing center I went to, it was like this huge room with like maybe 30 people in it, 30-something people, and as the test went on, because you can take 1, 2, or all 3 tests at the same time, after the first test, like, maybe 10 of them left, so it was like, oh, this is kind of empty, yeah, this is strange. And then we took the second test, and after that break, we came back, and there were like 5 people left, 5 people including me. It's a little strange, because tangent time. I go to this college prep school, so it's like everyone is aspiring to go to not UH. Then you go into like testing situations like this where all high school students sort of have to go and take this test so they can get into whatever school they want, including UH/community college / wherever you want to go when you grow up to become a college student. They have all these people, and they took like 1, so it like makes me wonder, where are they going? That makes me judgmental, and that makes me look bad. And I'm going to stop talking now before you judge me. So I took that, and it was like, what? Why are you asking me these questions? Because, like, the literature section, that's just, like, the kind that's on SAT 1, that's just normal, read this, reading comprehension, then talk about it. It's very it's very AP testy, where you have to read something and then you have to analyze it, and then you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again, and again. Except AP is kind of more, they give you like 3 essays, or like 2 essays and like a poem, and then they make you do that. Except in this one, they give you like freaking 5 or 6 or 7 essays, and they're like, oh, here you go. Now you get to do these it starts off easy like normal, and then when you get towards the end, it gets like stupid hard, like IB level hard, and then it's like, I know I'm not the best IB student ever, but these are kind of harder than how the IB kind of was. Who do you expect to get these problems? I also took the Math 1, which is basically just the math you take in SAT 1, where it's like super easy math, and it started off like really easy, and then when it's just really long, because it's like hour periods of testing, and it's just like straight testing, then you get like a 5-minute break, and you get straight testing, and it's a 5-minute break, and straight testing, and then you can go home. It was like super easy, like half of it was like more than half was super easy, and then you got to the end, and then it got into that stupid hard mode where it was like, go find the area of this heart using only a dot and 3 pieces of string, you know, something crazy like that. And then I talked to my friend about it, and I gave him like this example to like one of the problems that there were, and I was like, oh, so it's like, how am I supposed to find that? So he just goes over and he says like, oh, all you have to do is so why don't you just use SOHCAHTOA? And I'm just like, what? That's not gonna, oh. So, you know, that's probably why he's an AP Calc and I'm not. Nah. And then there was the biology section with, oh my god. So, biology is this very large expanse of knowledge that is always growing, and not in like most places or textbooks where if more stuff comes in, they sort of omit old stuff. No, instead, biology is one of those subjects where as more stuff happens, they keep the old stuff, so they tell you how wrong the old stuff was, and they tell you how right the new stuff is. Now I'm here taking the biology exam, and guess what's happening? You're asking me questions I didn't learn. I wonder what they teach you in other bio classes, and I wonder if my bio book is just incompetent in some way. Because they had this set where they gave you all these different enzymes, and then they're like, oh, which gland produces each enzyme? And like some of the enzymes were like words I didn't even know. Because most of the time it's like, if I see something, I'm going to recognize it, and I probably won't know what it means, but I'm going to recognize it. So it's like, oh, that's helpful. So I recognize it, and then I'm like, oh, well, good for you. Except this time, I only recognized one, and that was the one that didn't fit into any of them. So it was like, why would you, no, why? Sometimes when you're not doing anything, or rather, when you're doing something, and then you realize that you should be doing something else, then your mind wanders. Like, you're supposed to be doing homework, and you're not really doing Facebook or anything, you're like listening to music or something, or not, and you're just like, I don't want to do this, and you sort of blocked everything else out, except your mind decides to be its own Facebook, sort of, so it just goes off and does its own thing and distracts you, and you're just thinking about things, like just random things, just like, what is the breading for calamari made out of, and why is it so delicious, or, something like that, just some, I don't know, just something random. I was just thinking about the SAT recently when I should have been doing something else, probably sleeping, and I was thinking about, like, how the SAT is a metaphor for life, where some things are easy, and they have simple answers to them, and then there's the hard ones, and they're like serious business questions, so if you answer them wrong, you get penalized in life. Like if you're a guy and a girl's like, oh, does this skirt make my butt look big? Oh, of course not. Of course you don't look fat. And that's sort of, the right answer that you're supposed to tell a girl, I guess. I don't know. Then you get rewarded for that. You get the point. But if you answer any other way, like, oh, I guess it sort of makes half your ass look big, or, oh, I guess that skirt does make your whole ass look incredibly inflamed, then you're going to get penalized because that is wrong. Just like the SAT. If you get the right answer, you get a point. If you get the wrong answer, you get a quarter of a point marked off. Unlike the ACT, which is like the Wilsonian idealism of test-taking / life metaphor. I'm about to run out of time, so I'm going to quickly throw in the tip of the video, which is tip number 3. It depends on how many questions there are, but if there's kind of like a lot of questions, just for whatever reason, just for like derpy reason, I go through maybe like part of it, and then I stop, and then I go to the very end of it, and I start working backwards. That's exactly what I do for like all my normal tests too, like bubble-in kind tests, for like Scantron or just multiple choice. You can try that. It just sort of mixes things up, and it keeps things fresh. So you can try that, and if it doesn't work, I suggest you stop really quickly, and then go back to how you're doing it before, because